Welcome to another episode of Breaking Bank. I am going to go into a passage in this short little book by Meher Baba because I think y'all could relate to this. And it's arranged by numbers inside of this. Each page is a different number, but some are multi-pages. No, they're not actually, my bad. On each page, there's a number, and then there's a heading, a short heading, and then words under it. So each page is a separate writing of Meher Baba with a number attached to it. So let's look at number 75. It's next to the purpose of life. But I want to read about spiritual workers because this pertains to you who's watching this right now. So I'm going to read it to you. Okay? Spiritual workers. The only reason why I call upon every individual to work for me is to make each one share the divine cause. So, if you are prepared to share my universal work, the work must be done 100% honestly. And that work is to spread my message of love. Bear in mind that you should not at all seek appreciation from me or from others. Remember this much. That work in itself is its own appreciation. The moment you seek appreciation, the work is undone. The task for spiritual workers to help me in this dispensation. I'm going to start again. The task for spiritual workers to help me in this dispensation of the truth to suffering humanity means that you have not only to prepare others to receive the truth, but to get established in it yourself. Spiritual workers are necessarily confronted with many obstacles, but obstacles are meant to be overcome. Even if insuperable, do your best, irrespective of results and consequences. That's the entire writing for spiritual workers, number 75. There was a word in there wasn't 100% sure what it meant, insuperable, at the end. Even if insuperable, do your best. Insuperable means even if it's an obstacle that cannot be overcome, it's impossible, right? In other words, you're calling on a miracle from God. Of course, that's what spiritual workers do, the impossible. And so it's a miracle. That's what we do. Everyone around is like, it's a miracle you did. My work is all miraculous, but in God's work is far past that. I'm just, dispensing information he's given me, and then what did I do? He say, get established in it yourself. I got established in it. I'm doing it. I'm proving it. That's what you are doing. Because you're doing my work, standing in truth, you must live honestly, it said, right? You have to live honestly, okay? Honestly. You're giving the dispensation of truth. That is your work as a spiritual worker. You're giving truth, and you've established yourself in the truth. That's what spiritual workers do. Okay, well, let's continue on with the book to one other page, and let's see what he has to say about the 33. Page 33, because after I read that just happened to be the page I was on. I read this periodically. And I'd read this before, but just the counterpoint to what I just read is beyond imagination. It's just so perfect. So, in the same book, okay, Meher Baba Calling, and we're on page Whoops. Number 33. Oh, sorry. So I can get on here. My bad. Anyway, I'm going to read it to you. Be honest with yourself and God. Number 33. You see, he doesn't say stop being a liar. God is so perfect, he says. Be honest with yourself and God. Let your heart be pure. Do not act outwardly what you are not inwardly. Be absolutely honest. God is infinite honesty. Do not pose as being pious, because God is everywhere. God cannot be fooled, so why pose as something you are not? I do not want anything else from you but the gift of your obedience. Give me that, and you will free yourself from the bondage of ignorance. Pay heed and strive for freedom by experiencing ignorance in its true perspective. Be honest with yourself and God. You may fool the world and your neighbors, but you can never escape from the knowledge of the omniscient, capital O, omniscient. Such is the divine law. 33, you people out there switching your genders, doing all these lies, all the media, everything is a lie in the society. It's the 33. That's who's doing it. The Freemason. They don't have humans inside of them. They have God's shadow in there. You're with God. You're made from God. They have made their appearance so similar to humans. You have to be in knowledge to detect who's who. Like that old movie, what was that thing where they have pods in the 60s or something and they like replace people? But it's really, it's just some people are made from a male and a female, and then these other sort of in vitro, surrogate whatever things are made and not carried by a woman or not carried by the mother, or just, and then the things they do to put an element of God's shadow in there. I can say this honestly because I've spoken to it many times. It, God's shadow, whatever you want to call it, the devil, Satan, Lucifer, whatever name you want to give it. See, these, when you are under the authority of the in God we trust, or under the 33, that thing, that it, like in, it's kind of like, in The Matrix, that movie, right? There's accuracy in some of these blockbuster things. They're letting out information. That one is one of them. That it thing can pop up in any one on that team. Like the walking around the street and it gets that like agent face in there. And then you're talking to that agent. I'm telling you, I talk to the same thing, whatever, name you want to call it. It. That thing, God's shadow, it's the same thing I talk to in different bodies. It's like carrying on a conversation through different bodies at different times. It's, because you're talking to someone and it gets somewhat deep and spiritual and it's about God, and then God shows up and, as my role, he chooses me to dispense truth and live a life of truth and show others. He asked me to do that. So, the more I do that, the more this comes up, is what I'm saying. And the more the obstacles seem insuperable. But of course they're not. And that's the thing. What could be insuperable to God? Nothing. You see, everything is God's plan. So there's no fear is an action, an emotion, a thought, a feeling, anything of that to do with fear is opposed to love of God, opposed to love of God. Love God first. And because you do that, you can treat your others, neighbors, even if they're dishonest, lovingly. You know what I'm saying? Not cruelly the way they do and lie. But, hang out with honest people, obviously, but at least treat the others kindly. You shouldn't hang out with liars, that's going to ruin your life. So live an honest life. Be honest. Don't lie to yourself. My tools are, everyone lives in a life usually, and they don't know how to correct what they're doing. So, of course, it's one big lie. It's a big mixed up mess. Live an honest life, stay truthful, make sure you're being honest, and then things simplify and the problems just melt away one by one. Okay? So, I wanted you to have that information about Meher Baba and what he's talking about. Honesty and truth is true path of God and spiritual work. So, and I know you're doing that, the people who are doing my work. I know you're doing that. So I wanted to let you know, God knows you're doing it. Okay, nothing can be hidden from him. Okay, so you call on him ultimately. Okay, I'm here to help you. But let's face it, who's the ultimate enforcer? God is. So, in the end, this is a game about calling him to enforce. I am with him. And so far, for all our clients and myself, insuperably, it always works. So, thank you, God. Thank you, Meher Baba, Jesus Christ. Any name you call on the Son of God, from your heart with love. He gave several names. God bless your success.